Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Myself, KJ in the house. How you doing, bro?
Oh, hey, listen, I saw you. I saw you get defeated by the real owner of the football terrace earlier today. It was lovely to see. Hold tight, Lady Freya, fam. Come on now.
All right. For a second, I was like, "What have I forgotten about?" My bad memory was kicking in. It was kicking in again. There, yeah. Freya, she entered the room. She didn't want to leave. She kicked up a fuss, and then I came out after the stream, and I was like, "Freya, do you want to give Daddy a cuddle now?" She looked at me, cut her eye off, and said no, and just walked away out the room. I was like, "Wow." Absolutely had me. But we're here. It's live. It's later than 5 o'clock. I had a few meetings today. You're going to love what's coming, by the way, people. But so we're a little bit behind today. Of course, live after Arsenal and Manchester United's mammoth European games tonight. But two really big stories to talk about today. Haaland's transfer in general, but a huge boost for Chelsea. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail, as well as Manchester United chasing Jadon Sancho and what's going on in that world right now, what Manchester United are waiting for. As I said to you earlier, 95% of the videos we do on this channel about transfers revolve around what we've read across the media. This is a little different. There is an agent that I had a contact with, an agent and a more of a rep for a major sports management company that I had a long conversation with today. I've already spoke with KJ prior about this, and he kind of gave me some updates on some different bits and pieces. He's very much involved in this new world that we're moving into as well. We're going to start with the Haaland deal. Myself and KJ are going to talk through that, take some calls, then talk through the Sancho deal, take some calls, maybe talk about both, then take calls. It might be a little bit easier that way around. But the Haaland situation seems interesting. And the Haaland conversation came up today based on something else that came up in the conversation about how the modern day footballer is changing in terms of being at the best club, being part of the best project isn't always at the forefront of the mind of the player, and certainly isn't always at the forefront of the mind of the parents of these players and agents. Example being, there's a young academy player at a large Premier League club right now who has been offered a scholarship. So not even a professional contract, but a scholarship. The number of agents that are looking to represent this young player who's fairly talented, could have a good future. The parents are demanding that they'll sign with the first agent who gets their young son, who's just about to turn 16, a boot deal. So unless they get him a boot deal, they're not going to sign with any agent. To put that into perspective, some pros that are in their mid-20s playing for top 6 clubs don't have boot deals. That's how demanding the younger kind of players coming through are getting, which kind of set the prelude to the story. So what I was informed today, which I thought was interesting, and this rumor has been going around for a little while now, Haaland is looking to move this summer. The team, his reps, we know, of course, his father, Alfie, and Mino Raiola.
They're doing a world tour and that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. European tour, they're going around the market. Essentially, what a number of agents in Germany have fed back into the UK market is that they are looking for the best deal. And what they mean by that is, of course, first team status, which every club is offering, but they are simply seeking out the best financial option for all of them. So who's going to pay the biggest salary? Who's going to pay the biggest bonuses? Of course, who is going to meet the demand of transfer salary that Borussia Dortmund have set, which right now is 150 million euros. Things like the project, size of club, and who really wants me. These things are secondary to Haaland and his team. It's about securing the biggest deal possible. And the question I want to ask of everybody today is if you're a Chelsea fan, and by the way, the reason I mentioned Chelsea is the update, I think this suits Chelsea massively. Because if you listen to what the majority of rival fans have said about this deal, it's why would he pick Chelsea over City or Barca or Real Madrid? They're bigger clubs. They've got a better project. They've got better managers. It's more prestigious. But if they're seeking the best financial options, I think it gives Chelsea. I think Chelsea are the front runners because they have more money than any of those other clubs to spend. The question is for Chelsea fans, do you want a player that's seeking the best financial option over picking a coach or a system or a project that suits him best? That's a question for you to all come on and answer and have your say on. From your point of view, KJ, how do you feel about hearing something like this? Again, this has only been what an agent has been told by another agent. This isn't He didn't have a phone call with Haaland himself or Mino Raiola. Let me state that. But when you hear this, how does it make you feel?
So in terms of the first part of it, yes, man like Dom. In terms of the first part of it, in terms of the young players seeking boot deals X, Y, and Z before they even sign pro contracts, is sad now. It's kind of like, where is the desire to improve then? Where is that next goal to strive after? If you are a young player coming through, one of the things you strive for is, yes, first team football, but also the boot deals, the brand deals, the marketing. You should want to become a better player so you get that. You know what I mean? Let me strive towards these things. Maybe not being the best player in the world is your aim, but maybe to be one of the most marketable players is your aim. Go and become a really good player so that basis is there for you to become a marketable player. And it's just sad to hear that these young people, maybe not the kids themselves, but maybe their parents are using their kids' position to not help them in their football sense, but just to help them financially. And it is what it is at the end of the day. People need to go earn their bread and will use whatever they can, including their kids' football talent, to get that. In terms of Haaland, though, I'm not too bothered. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't really care for why Haaland wants to go somewhere as long as he performs. If his remit is, okay, I know I'm good enough to play for any of these clubs. I know these clubs that are in for me aren't just some minnows who are just some small team. They actually are all big clubs. Why not just be like, okay, who can give me the best deal? Yeah. Because in his mind, it clearly looks like all of these clubs are on a level playing field. So to separate that, he has chosen the package, how much they want, prove how much you want me by giving me the best package, and I'll come to you and be the best player in the world, hopefully, for you. For me, that ain't the worst thing in the world that I've heard. You know what I mean? I personally am not too fussed like that.
I think on those two separate things, I think it's the one thing, and he said his name then. One thing he said to me is, when you're Paul Pogba, when you're Haaland, even like, you know, especially Paul Pogba, because he used him as an example, you can be to a degree as demanding as you want because you're one of the best players in the world. You've won a damn World Cup. You're a World Cup winning. You've scored in a World Cup final. When you're a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, unless you are quite literally at 15, 16, breaking into the first team of Man United or Barcelona, you hush your mouth a bit. Do you know what I mean? Your parents worrying about a boot deal. You know, there are players out there now that are arguing with high-level football clubs because they're being offered scholarships or contracts for a year to be trained and developed by the club, but they have to behave and sit within their remits. And it might mean they can't do deals with certain brands because of who sponsors that particular football club. And there are parents and reps of these young players that haven't even been given pro contracts arguing with some of the most prestigious club in the world, saying, no, we don't want to be controlled by you or shaped by you. It's becoming really kind of a little bit insidious in many ways. On Haaland, my view is the same as yours, mate. As long as he's given his all when he's at your club, I don't think it matters. There's a comment from Twisted Bubba that said something along the lines of, so it isn't for the badge. No, Haaland isn't picking a football club for the badge. He's going to pick a football club that pays him the most amount of money. Pretty much the same reason that most of us pick the jobs that we go for to a certain degree. It's just going to be about how hard does he work when he's there. And I don't think Chelsea fans are going to care one little bit. They're still the front runners in England to get him. If they end up spending more money on him than anybody else is willing to pay, he comes in and scores the 35, 40 goals a season that most predict he will. Chelsea fans are not going to give one damn. And if after 3 or 4 years he wants to move on, they'll recoup a lot of that money in terms of the new additional sell-on price for him. Or in fact, he may end up becoming so good that no one can even afford to buy him after that. So he becomes a Chelsea player for a permanent basis. But I just want to, it's an interesting one for me that they're going about it in this way, but they're being fairly brazen. Of course, they put the tweets out saying fake news, that they're earning money out of it and they're looking for the best financial deal. As soon as they said that was fake news, my first reaction was, it's true then. As soon as they said that, it must be true.
You know what's mad, yeah? As fans, we sometimes forget and we can't comprehend because we're not in the sport, because we wish we was, that literally this is a job to many of these men. This is just a job to many of these footballers. So if you take it in the aspect of normal life, more likely when you go move jobs from where you're working, you will go to where who's paying you the most. You don't care about no allegiances to Apple or Samsung or Sony or Google or whoever. If you worked at Apple and Google come in and offer you X amount above your wages, you're not gonna be like, oh, but I want to work at Google for the love of Google. No, you just say, but yeah, fam, the peas, let me go do my work over there. And unfortunately, as fans, that's just something we need to accept for many of these footballers, not all, for many of these footballers, this is a job they like, but it's still a job. So of course I'm going to go and see to get the best package.
What you've got to look at as well is football clubs are far less loyal than players, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Because if Haaland goes there, well, forget Haaland. Look at Timo Werner. If he has another 6 to 7 months of playing at the level he's at now, they're not going to care about his 5-year contract. They're not going to care about the fact he's moved his family over. I don't know if he's got children, but maybe he's got a child or a little brother or sister that's settled in a school here. You know, his wife's just started making friends. They're going to ship him off to the highest bidder. That could be another English club. It could be a French club, German club, could be whoever. So he might then have to move hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from where he currently is now. And fans have no regard for where's the loyalty. You know, we invested in him for 5 years. We should give him 5 years. No, fans want the very best for their football club. I don't think it's unfair for football players to think in exactly the same
way. We fans want loyalty on fans' terms. So when a player is good, you want them to be loyal for the rest of their life to the club. When they leave, they're awful. But when a player is bad, who loves the club and says, I want to stay here and try and make a career here, you're the first people to say, you're not good enough, get out. You just think about yourself. You know what I'm saying? So why is loyalty a bad thing when it's a player you don't like? You know what I mean? Loyalty then automatically becomes the worst thing possible you can think of.
Do you know what these fans remind me of? They're like that guy who cheats on his girl every weekend, but then she finds out, she laughs at a joke from a male work colleague and they get all jealous. Do you know what I mean? That's what these men are like. Do you know what I mean? They're serial cheaters, but it's like, don't you cheat on me, I'm too fragile. I've just learned to realize that, you know, I was talking to, he asked me the question today, actually, in the conversation, what are my thoughts on Pogba? And I was very honest. And I said, I completely accept and back him leaving. His career is short, and I think he needs to go out. I also think he's a player that would flourish a lot more in a team that's already formed, right? And it's just one of those things where I sort of look at it and feel like I've just got to an age in my life where I have to look at the bigger picture. I want Pogba to want to stay at Man United for the rest of his career. But why should he waste his career here if the club isn't progressing forward? Some fans will say, but Pogba's part of the reason that we haven't progressed. Maybe a small cog in that wheel, but we were struggling before him. And we're going to continue to struggle.
Wait. So they think Paul Pogba is one of the problems of why we're not where we are, but yet he has to stay to rectify the fact that he's a problem. But yet you don't think he should be like. You see, it just doesn't make any sense at all when you get into it. It
really doesn't. But Chelsea fans, we are going to open up the lines for you to come on and have your say about this soon. Smash that like button. Get your super chat questions in as well. Legan Sweet here says, if Haaland goes Chelsea, he will flop. It would kill his career just like other strikers. I think Chelsea, bro, I respect you. I think Chelsea fans may just throw words out like Diego Costa and Didier Drogba. They didn't flop, but we will see what happens.
We've got another super chat here, though.
Have we?
One here. Yes, we have another one right there.
What you guys said about boot deals gets me thinking whether Angel Gomez's parents and agent had the same idea. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything specifically about that deal. But this is what I think people don't understand. Just because you rate a player doesn't mean that the club and the player are on the same page. We have no idea what happened in that circumstance. But you will have moments where a player is saying, I want X, Y, Z. I want these freedoms. Maybe I want to go out on loan to this league or this country. And the club just says, that's not part of our plan for you. We want to do X, Y, and Z. And then it becomes a career decision for a player to want to leave. We're never privy to that information, generally speaking. So something like that could have happened. It could have been the other way. Maybe Man United's plans didn't give Gomez what he felt what he wanted, so he decided to leave. I don't think it was a horrible breakup, if that makes sense. I think it was fairly amicable. There's not been any shots fired or anything like that. But obviously, if it wasn't for the fact we had Oli as our manager. If it was a manager all the fans love, like a Poch, nobody would even be talking about it, in my opinion. It's only because it was Oli it became a thing. Speaking of Oli, Manchester United, the Jadon Sancho deal. We heard rumours earlier on in the week that Man United were going to prioritise a striker, not anywhere else. And very quickly, Man United came out, spoke to media outlets. The Athletic reported that the right wing and centre-back areas are the two key focuses for them. On Jadon Sancho, Fabrizio Romano said this week that Man United have everything in place. They're just waiting on the final fee to be given to them by Borussia Dortmund. So, of course, in my conversations today with this agent, who's very well versed and connected in Germany, I said, "Is this true?" I'm very excited. There's not me trying to be a sort of a content creator. I said, "Look, is this going to happen? Because I need to know." And he said to me that Manchester United have everything set. Personal terms are not going to be an issue. He basically confirmed everything that Fabrizio Romano said to be true. He said Dortmund just haven't decided on what they're going to ask for as a final price. Manchester United expect it to be between 70 and 80 million based on the fact that he's a year further into his contract. There may not be Champions League qualification. That could boost it up slightly as an example. But it's how he ends the remainder of the season. He's had a good year this year, Jadon Sancho, but it's a regression based on last year. There's a lot of talk that he hasn't been as good eye test wise in games. So I said, is that so? We'll see what happens in this last 10, 11 games of the season. He's reported to be back within the next 2 to 3 weeks to the first team. He started doing light work in training. And again, this was another bit of insight into football, which I found so intriguing. Absolutely so intriguing. Everything he said is true. Man United are ready to go. They're ready to press the button on Jadon Sancho. They're waiting to be told what the final price is. His view is, he goes, but it's going to take to the end of the season, and we don't know whether we're going to see too much of Jadon Sancho between now and the end of the season. He may get used sparingly. And I said, well, why? Surely, he says, if he returns and Dortmund look like they're completely out of the top 4 race, as an example, say they lose a few more games before he comes back, they may not want to risk Jadon Sancho playing any more games. And I thought this, why? Because of injury. He says, no. Sometimes there's an element, if he comes in for the last 4 or 5 games, 6 games, and doesn't perform well, it will lower the asking price of the player. If he comes in and does really well, it may raise the price. But they're quite happy with between 70 and 80 million, and they may not want to take the risk of it dropping. I've never heard of this before. So I said, is this common? And he gave me some examples like the Brewsters of this world. Sometimes there'll be an exciting young player that we see sparingly and everyone's excited about, but we always moan that they never get enough game time. And it's because the club are maybe not, in the Brewster example, are not overtly convinced that he's good enough for the highest level. So rather than play him too much and for everybody else to realize they're not good enough, they sell them before that point for money that's well beyond their actual valuation. Brewster's looked average this year. Mm-hmm. Jordan Ibe is another example. He said Liverpool are masters at doing it. And for me, I just thought that's quite telling, you know. So we may not see very much more football from Jadon Sancho between now and the end of the season, but that's actually a positive for Man United because they're expecting between 70 and 80 million to be the asking price or the acceptable price that they're able to offer. So on positive news, Man United is set to try and sign him. The deal is there to be struck. It's just whether or not Man United do anything stupid, like go, okay, you want 80, there's 50, and try some madness like that and drag it out and long it out. But I thought it was a really good update. It doubles down very much from what Fabrizio Romano said, and also just gave a really interesting insight into, you know, we often ask why we're not seeing more of X player. Sometimes the clubs don't want to risk lowering that valuation.
Eric Bailly is a good example. Like if he doesn't get sold this summer, you've seen him be fit and not get picked, and maybe that's part of it. Rightly or wrongly, as a fan, that's just a piece of football. And to that super chat, do we really think Dortmund will let stars go? Yes, because that is the model. Lewandowski, Hummels, Goetze. There are many other Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang. There are many other stars that Dortmund have had that they've come and let go. So will they let go of Haaland? Yes. They've already stated, they basically come out and said, yo, the financial restraints that we got this year, we are prepared to sell him, basically. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho as well. They will be ready to sell them. And the money they're going to get from both Sancho and Haaland, they can buy an entire new squad. They could. So I don't think they're going to be like, oh no, Haaland and Sancho go in. They're going to let them both go and reap the rewards of the peas.
They're going to raise for the sale of those two players. It's going to be somewhere in the region of 220 to 250 million pounds in its entirety. That's the equivalent of about 4 years of getting to the latter stages of the Champions League on the bounce. That's just for the sale of two players. It looks like they may miss out on the Champions League when you look at their current form. They're going to sell those two players, and there'll be an element of them that's going to regret not getting rid of Sancho last year. Man United, remember, offered around £105 million on deadline day. Man United won't pay as much as that this year, according to experts. They may end up doing it because Man United don't behave like experts themselves in the transfer market. But again, I thought it was a really interesting update. There was no real new information in relation to Sancho thing. He just confirmed that that's what he's heard from Germany. It's almost like the worst kept secret in Germany that Sancho's going. Man United are ready to pounce. They're just waiting on a final price. But it was the element of not seeing much of Sancho between now and the end of the season which stood out to me.
That is true, but it also is a good thing for you. Potentially a good thing, United. I'm not trying to get sucked in like I did last year because these pagans and that Wallad are capable of destroying anything they touch. But also, if the price is lower, because the price is lower, it's not just for Man United, it's for every club in Europe. So once Haaland leaves, because Haaland can only go to one club, who is going to be next on many people's radars? I don't think it's Dan James. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jadon Sancho will probably be the next hottest property on the market after Haaland.
Yeah.
So if we do not get this done, if we are in for him and we want him, and we do not get this done quickly, while everyone's scrapping for Haaland, United can lose out and Jadon Sancho again. And again, I don't have faith that these men will do it. But anyway, that is what we should do. We should be going after Jadon Sancho. Again, he's done deal done quickly while everyone's scrapping over Haaland. We get Sancho in, get him in early. And if he doesn't go to the Euros as well, because, man like Waistcoat, doing what Waistcoat does, that's more money saved on the deal. So United, just be quick. Just be quick. If you're in for him, just be quick. That's all I'm asking.
Well, and I think that would be a sign as to whether or not Manchester United have turned the corner with negotiating with Myrtle, with Fletcher. It's getting these deals done. And do you know what? Even if it's 5 million, 6 million, 10 million more, I don't want to hemorrhage money on all deals. But for Jadon Sancho to get a full pre-season, it looks now like he might not even be going to the Euros with England. And I'm telling you now, if he's a Man United player, I am over them. I don't want any Man United player going to the Euros, if I'm being honest, because England will foul, and I don't want it being blamed on a single Manchester United player. They don't need the pressure. And I want my squad and my players to get a full pre-season together. We haven't got the best manager in the world. We haven't got the best run club in the world. So I want us to have the best preparation possible to see what we can yield. But I do think Man United have a big chance of getting Jadon Sancho. I really, really do. And we lost the negotiation battles last summer, but we may end up winning the overall war. But my question to you after that would be, how good a signing do you think he will be for Man United?
He'll be up there and one of our best signings we've made since post-Fergie. The fact that we've hopefully fixed a hole. Actually, no, I'm going to say hopefully. That we would have fixed a hole in our team that we've been missing since Ronaldo left. He will be up there in top 3 signings since post-Fergie. Obviously, number 1 right now being Bruno, and you can argue number 2 is potentially Paul Pogba or someone else of that caliber. But he would definitely be up there, and we need him. But that right-hand side is suffering. Is absolutely suffering. He's crying out for a proper right winger, and Jadon Sancho fits everything about Manchester United. He is a Manchester United player. He suits the mold so perfectly that for us to miss out on him will be an absolute disgrace. It will be. It'll be disgrace that we will miss out on Jadon Sancho, especially that we've had a second chance at going potentially a free run at him again. You don't know, for top players that don't happen. Top players that don't happen. You don't get 2 chances in a row at a player to go through and collect them without any competition. So United,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They've got to go and get it done because those opportunities don't come around, as you say, on that regular basis. And they need to get it sorted. They need to get it done. That they really, really do. Because I said it to you earlier when we were talking and kind of prepping for the show. It's 106 goal contributions in 130 games for Dortmund. And that's 100. That's his first 130 games of his professional career. I've been looking. Forget Haaland's kind of done that to a degree, but he didn't start his career at the highest level. He went from Norway to Austria to the Bund. Jadon Sancho. I cannot find an attacking player in the history of European football since stats sort of started being, say, from like 2004 onwards, when stats were collated to prove this, that started their career and within their first 130 professional games, Europe, domestic cup and domestic league, have contributed 106 goals. And by the way, that's their main job, to create and to score. He is an absolute phenom. He's a phenom and he's balanced. And what I love about him is this. He can play multiple sides. So a lot of people saying, what about Ahmad? It's exactly what we need. The Sancho can go left-hand side if you need to. He can go central at times if you need him to. It puts pressure on Martial and Rashford to up their games, especially Rashford. I want that. I don't care in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year. If Rashi's sitting on that bench with Sancho left and Ahmad on the right and we're beating teams, that's all I care about, my team winning. So for me, it's a necessity.
It feels so many things. It eases the pressure of Wan-Bissaka because you know his deficiencies going forward. It eases the pressure of Ahmad because, again, if Man United don't get Sancho because we've got Ahmad and Palestri, that is sheer incompetence, sheer negligence, and I actually should call social services because that's basically child abuse. You know what I'm saying? You cannot expect these young kids who have barely played English football to become to be the ones next season to go help lift us a title. That is unfair. Jadon Sancho will come in, lift the weight off Ahmad's shoulders and give him time to develop, get used to England, get used to the team. And then also it will make players like Martial, Rashford, and even Greenwood look around and be like, right, okay, cool, there's more competition. Let's go, let's get better, let's go firing, let's make sure that we're the best forward line in the league. Because that's all I want. I want to have a forward line where you go Rashford, Greenwood, Martial. Okay, that's good. Sancho, Ahmad, and then a third option off the bench for you to guys be like best attacking force in the league. Look, that's what I want. That's what I want. But again, this is all down to the people who run our football club. There's not much more Ali can do than say I want that player. That's all he can say. This is down to the football club.
110%. We're spamming the link now for you to phone in and for you to have your say. Give us your opinions on what is motivating Haaland to move money. Seems to be what's coming out of Germany as a report. And Jadon Sancho to Man United, they're waiting for the price to be set. But personal terms, not a problem. Whether you take that as they're agreed or not, they're just not going to be a problem. Jadon Sancho still wants the United move. Man United still want him. Do you see it happening? Hit that like and that share button. Phone into the Football Terrace now. We're going to start taking your calls in just a few moments time. There is other news as well today that Man United are looking at a deal, and I'm going to read out what it says. It says that Declan Rice is an absolute positive. This was said by BBC Konstantin Ekner, BBC correspondent, and for the Times. So he's a journalist for the Times and the BBC. Says Declan Rice to Man United is an absolute possibility. Man United are trying to explore ways to lower the price as they want to address multiple positions this summer, and as they should be looking to it. Listen, United have got something amazing to lower that price. His name is Jesse Lingardinho. Listen, you throw him. Listen, if he keeps scoring like this, he's going to be worth more money than Declan Rice in a few weeks. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's scoring goals. He scored more goals in the last 8 games he's played in than Lionel Messi. And we've got to sell that, bro. We've got to sell it. Listen, he was just being held back. He didn't like although he's from Manchester, he just weren't coping. He's in London. He's reached his potential. Declan Rice to Man United as well is on. We're going to go to the first caller of the day. We're going to get man like Pav on. What you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just had my second COVID jab. Feel like a bit crap. But yeah, I mean, this news has kind of got me a little bit happy. Jadon Sancho is just whether Mr. Ed Woodward and the Scottish brothers can get the deal done. Like, I don't know, man. Like, last year, man, that it kind of killed me, bro. On the last day, I remember calling up on transfer deadline day, and we were talking about centre backs and Jadon Sancho, and literally that day just killed me. And we kind of need that right winger, not only just for that position. We need cover for Rashford, and Jadon Sancho can play on the left wing. He could play through the middle. He could play on the right wing. Like, I look at Rashford, man's just picking up injuries. We don't have much cover in the wings, and we need at least two wingers. And Jadon Sancho has to be the top priority. Literally, like, we haven't got any creativity off the wings. Dan James ain't it. We spent 40 mil on Diallo. Don't know when this guy's ever going to get a full 90-minute game. I don't believe Ollie will even use him next season. And obviously, Palestri, I've heard some things about this guy, that his loan move's not going good. So
yeah, he's injured now, and I personally don't see this kid actually getting more than 3 games from Man United, unfortunately. Nothing against him, just the whole signing just reminds me of Henrique, that the kid from Chile that we signed.
Oh my God, I forgot about that guy, bro.
This is what it feels like, and there's nothing that I've seen from him so far. Or even in reports, I haven't heard anything that I'm feeling like, yeah, Palestri's going to do a thing. Hopefully, he gets a chance to show us what he can got on, what he's got on loan, or maybe a cup game. But yeah, Palestri's just one of those guys where you look at him, you just get that feeling of just, you know what I'm saying?
You get a feeling that he's average. That's what it comes down to. He's an average. He's going to be an average football player as far as I'm concerned. Pav, thank you for phoning in, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Shane here says it means Rashford can have a rest when he has a knock instead of needing an operation at the end of the season because he's overplayed while injured. I actually spoke with that today with my guy today about that and what he thought, and he just said, he goes, at the end of the day, there's too much pressure on the coaches and players for people not to be forced to play when they're injured. It's as simple as that. He went, that's just the way. He goes, it's not right. But he went to think it's an Ollie and this guy is a big fan of a rival club of Man United as well as doing his job. He would stick it to us if he could. He went, listen, it's just a normal thing. There we go. Next on the show, we're going to have Gooner Express. Welcome back to the Terrace, mate. What do you want to say?
I just want to talk about Haaland real quick. My opinion has been this since he blew up. He should never come to the Premier League. And it's not that I don't think he's good enough, because I think he would rip it up, but we've seen it with players from the German league especially, that they just come here and they're so overhyped. And then when they fail, or not even when they fail, but when they don't perform to the hype that they were given, they just get ridiculed. And Werner's the one. Like, don't get me wrong, he can't finish, but he isn't that bad for Chelsea. He's not as bad as people make out. And I just see Haaland being in the same boat where he's not going to do as well as people think. And everyone's just going to think he's a crap player.
When you say you don't think he'll do as well, I mean, how well do you think he will do? Like, what level will he achieve here?
No, I think 100% he'll get, 20, 30 goals a season at least. But again, we've seen it with certain players. Like, if he doesn't get what people expected him to get, whether it's, 50, 60 goals a season, even if he's not hitting that, he's going to get criticism. And,
who's expecting to get 50, 60 goals a season? Who's doing that?
It's some things you see on Twitter, man.
Jeez, man, that's harsh.
We've seen it with Werner, though, as well. Like, he got hyped so much. And the minute that he doesn't live up to that hype, he's just ridiculed. And I don't want to see Haaland and even Mbappe go in this section, because they are, obviously generational talents. They're going to be 2 of the best players in world football, probably even the history of football. But I mean, it's not that there's this common thing where you have to come to the Premier League to be a great footballer. And that's not true, because look at Messi, one of the best players to ever live. He's never played in the Premier League.
That's true, Gunnar Express. But then you got a question. If they are generational talents and you believe they're going to do so well, why does it matter where they go? If they come to the Prem, surely you should believe in their talent enough to get them through. And if it doesn't work, surely their mentality will get them through. And if they do move on, they'll show the world-class talent anywhere. I feel like I understand what you're saying in terms of the British media, the British fans, the Premier League fans can get onto players a lot, but I also feel like if you have that mentality and you're scared as a footballer to take criticism, then you're not good enough to play for the biggest teams in the world.
Yeah, I get that again, but I think for me as well, it's just the fact that, again, it's this common thing where if you do not live up, like we've seen it with Thomas Partey, we hyped him up so much. Arsenal fans did hype him up too much, and he hasn't lived up to that hype yet. So he is, in technicality, a flop. I don't think he's been a bad footballer for Arsenal, but again, it's the way that we hype these players up. And say, for example, Haaland goes to Chelsea. He's expected to hit 40, 30 goals in that season that he comes in. He has a slow start because he's getting used to the league. Especially Chelsea fans, they're just going to rip into him. They're going to make him out like he's a crap footballer. And this is what I'm saying. I don't like seeing these players come to the Premier League. I love the Bundesliga, and Werner's the one for me. He's so good, but the way we rip into the guy, it's like he's not that bad. He's not as bad as people know.
Gunnar, I'll ask you this question: how do you know how badly a player gets ripped into in other countries? Do you read their newspapers? Do you go on their forums?
Well, again, I mainly talk about the Bundesliga here because I follow the Bundesliga a lot, and the Bundesliga is a very allowing league. Like the fans, they obviously rip into the players when they do certain stupid things, but they don't look at their criticisms if they don't need. Like example, Sancho, he might not be the greatest player to look at the eye test, but because he performs on the pitch anyway, the Dortmund fans don't care. He might have a few bad parts to his game, but they don't care about it because as long as they perform, they're not bothered.
I understand. Sorry, Kev. I understand your logic and all this about you. You he's a really talented guy. If he comes to the league and it doesn't work out, it's not gonna. But based on that, but all top talented players get hyped because we're excited. If that makes sense, and it's the nature of the beast. And I think that you're never going to get rid of that. You're always going to get it. If we didn't know, if Haaland would have signed for a club at the same, it's a Premier League club instead of going to RB Salzburg, and then blew up like this, no one would be concerned about him moving into. It's only because he's blown up outside of this league. Of course, there's that pressure on him to deliver because the Premier League is different. We know it's different. It's faster and it's more physical. How do we know this? The abundance of our foreign imports that have come in that said it took 6 months, 1 year, 2 years for me to adjust to that element of the game. It's one of the reasons I think for a certain amount of time we struggled in Europe because we were too physical in terms of we gave away too many fouls. We did things in the wrong way. We also didn't know how to play act properly. We were awful at it. Do you know what I mean? We had to learn to do all those things. I think Haaland is going to be fine. I disagree with you on the point of I think Haaland's coming to the Prem and I think he's going to score between 30 and 40 goals a season.
No, I do as well. I don't think he's going to be a flop. That's not what I'm saying. I definitely do think he can come here and obviously succeed and be probably one of the best strikers in the league, if not the best. But my point is just maybe Haaland's not the best player to talk about, but just the overall way that the media and the fans treat players, it's not right because you've got to give them time sometimes.
No, I get that. I completely get that. But then you also gotta look at just the way you live life. It's like, do you live life in fear? Do you take calculated risks, or do you carry away because the worst could happen? You know what I mean? Listen, if I go outside tomorrow, I could get hit by a car. Does that stop me from going outside? No, it doesn't. So I understand your point, but I don't think it's enough for a player of Haaland's stature to stay away from the Prem.
My quote would be, to conquer fear, you must become fear. So you have to get over that, Rav. You know what I mean? You have to do a bit of Dark Knight here, bro. Great call though. Thank you very much for coming on, having your say. Really, really appreciate that, bro. Next up, got loads of people waiting. Let's go to Cozzy, Arsenal podcast. How you doing, bro?
Very well. How are you doing, Terry?
Yeah, I'm good. What do you want to say, bro?
Yeah, Terry. First and foremost, I don't think Haaland is going to come to the Premier League. I don't think he's going to go to the Premier League. I just have the feeling. I don't know. Probably a Real Madrid deal, probably a Barcelona deal, something like that. That's what I think. But I think this is a player that is having these comparisons to Messi, and he's having Kylian Mbappe at this point in time. We just need to let him do his thing. Probably make that move. And I'm so happy that he's having Raiola as his agent, because he's gonna force that money move, because he wants the money, but he's also going to he knows to get that money. I'm gonna take Haaland to probably Real Madrid, probably to Chelsea, probably to any team that's gonna be able to pay that money. So people were saying that Haaland shouldn't be going to the Premier League, or shouldn't be making big money move.
Bro, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Are you just saying this because you're hoping and praying he doesn't go to one of your... As a gooner, you're like, he can't go Chelsea. He can't go Chelsea. He can't go... Is that what that is? Is that like wishful thinking?
Not really. Not Terry. Because I know Terry. Chelsea can buy him. Even if it's 200 million, they can buy him. City can buy him. They have the money. They've been splashing that money. Recently, they've been buying that, players here and there. But I just feel he's gonna go to Real Madrid. And I say it's a feeling. It's purely a feeling. It's not. There's no logic behind. There's no logic behind. He's not going to go to Chelsea. He's not going to go to Real Madrid, to Manchester City, because I feel, they bought these players before, but I think it's going to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona, and I feel the right move for him is gonna be the La Liga, because there players, Ronaldo is out, Messi is out. You're gonna go there. If Kylian Mbappe can go there, and you have Haaland at Barcelona. For me, it would be the best move for Haaland. In
terms of Barcelona, Barcelona are in no position to be signing Haaland. Really, if you look at what they've been going through as a club, if they go and spend money on Haaland this summer, you got to already think about corruption again. They're just going out of it, you know what I mean? And now they're going to put themselves back into it. And again, Real Madrid, the way they're structured as a club, yes, they have loads of money, but if you look at the last few years, they haven't been spending massive amounts of money. You know what I mean? They haven't been buying the Galacticos. There's something going on in that club that's more than just it's Real Madrid that you can sign Haaland. I feel like if Haaland's remit is mainly the money aspect and the package is going to be receiving, the Premier League are the front runners for Haaland.
Yeah, they are. Listen, I agree with what KJ's saying there, but listen, you're entitled to your opinions, bro. Thank you very much for phoning in and having your say. There's two gooners on the bounce who have basically come out and said to us, oh, he's not, I don't think he'll go Chelsea or the Prem. That's Arsenal fans.
They're shook.
Seeking the most amount of money. If FFP is relaxed to the degree that we think it's going to be a madness. There's no doubt about it. We've got David backstage. We're going to get on with us just now as well. David, how you doing, bro? Oh, potato Wi-Fi.
The home internet. I hate to see
it. We can't hear you, Dave.
Oh no! I can see his face clearing. It's worse. Get that blurry screen.
Let's go to another caller. We've got Ian back again. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How you guys?
Yeah, very well, thank you. What do you want to say, mate?
I don't know why everyone actually thinks Haaland's move's going to happen this summer. I just don't see it happening, honestly. I think he's going to stay at Dortmund another season at the price tag and the current market. I don't see any team that's going to be willing to meet that price tag right now.
See, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. So
yeah, especially with like next summer. Like if you look at the release clause where Haaland gets his pick of the clubs, and when Mino Raiola are going to be able to dominate a sitting where he's going to be able to tell clubs to give the highest package possible because you're getting him at a lower price. His wages are going to be higher. He's going to get better bonuses. Like at the end of the day, like at 150 million of a price tag, and you know how stern Dortmund are. We learned it the hard way as United fans last summer. We thought that they would budge towards the end, but they stuck to their guns. So you give Dortmund the money or they're not going to move.
I got a question for you. If he's not going to be moving, and you believe it'll be next summer with the release clause activating, why are his dad and Mino going around?
Well, they're going on a world tour. It's a world tour. They don't care. They're meeting clubs for future perspective. You're meeting for the future. Like you, as Mino Raiola, as your agent, have you seen the deals he does? He doesn't care. Like he's gonna go meet 6 clubs, right? Why is he even meeting United? Why is he meeting clubs?
I know why he's doing it. This is why. This is what you do. You go now and say Dortmund want 150 mil. What you willing? You willing to pay that? Yeah. What you going to pay us in salary? 300 grand a week. Why only 300 grand a week? Well, because we're paying 150 mil. Okay, next summer, 72 mil price tag. What are you willing to pay us then? So if someone like Barcelona or Chelsea says, we'll leave it a year, but we'll pay you 600 grand a week. So rather than giving an extra 70 mil to Dortmund this year, we'll give it to you lot. We'll put that into your contract. It might make the Haaland family and their representatives say, that's a better deal. Let's wait for another year. Dortmund still get their 72 mil buyout clause, but instead of that money going to that club, it's coming to us. They could be broken those deals.
So you think it could be all a smokescreen, all a theatrics
100%.
just for next summer?
No, it's not theatrics. Let's go out and see what's available now.
I would agree with this. I would agree with this. However, Dortmund aren't in the top 4, and they're not going to make it.
See,
So
that's where I have.
I don't think he's spending a year at Champions League.
I completely agree with that. That's one point that I agree with. That I don't see Haaland wanting to spend time at a club without Champions League, which is fine. But at 150 million, what club, like Dortmund's not going to budge from the price tag. It's only if Haaland is going to force the move because of the lack of Champions League, that 150 million price tag has to come down. It is not staying at 150 million for him to leave.
Do you not think
Abramovich spent 400 mil on a yacht? Let's just leave it at that.
I don't think there's going to be 2 summers in a row. Firstly, when you've signed Timo Werner and Kai Havertz for like a collective above 150 million from the Bundesliga and have not done well at your club. I don't see another player from the Bundesliga, another 150 million being splashed from Chelsea and him.
Yeah, but you know who else came from the Bundesliga? Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Aubameyang. You know, again, this whole thing of
I'm not denying that. I'm talking about the price tags being so high for Bundesliga players recently and from recent form. I'm not sure how much I agree with so much being spent on Haaland this summer. When you're getting, every club has to think of that. Next summer, if you're getting him for half the price, are you really going to be willing to spend 150 million this summer when a year later, if he really does want to choose you, like the way Chelsea fans claim that, oh, he's going to choose Chelsea over everyone, like, okay, then let's see next summer when he does have the options who he picks.
So it's interesting. It really is an interesting point. Viewers, we want your opinions. Do you think this is a bit of a charade to try and work out who is willing to pay more in salaries next year? Is anybody going to pay 150 million pound this summer for him? What's your views and opinions? Ian, great call. Thank you very much for coming on and play, buddy. Really do appreciate that. David, you're here with us. You didn't really get a chance to speak before because your Wi-Fi was doing a madness. Viewers, over 1,100 of you watching live right now. Smash the like button. Let's get it past 500 likes while we're live on the air, please. The link is going to be shared in the description again. Sorry, not in the description, in the comment section. We've got another super chat that says Haaland will force the move this summer because him and his people get 20% of the price tag he is sold for. They have debunked that rumor or that it's fake news. I don't believe them, though. I legitimately do not believe Haaland's camp on that. The Champions League football element is there. It's up in the air. I think he could go this summer. If he didn't and went next year, I also wouldn't sort of sit there and be the biggest shocked man in the world. David, what do you think is going to happen, bro?
I think he's going. I've accepted he's going. I just hope he goes from Dortmund to Chelsea because then, like, it's a benefit towards me. I don't want him going to City because it's not competitive anymore. Real Madrid and Barca. I think Real Madrid are more interested in Mbappe. I'm gonna be honest. I think Real Madrid are more Mbappe than Haaland personally, and then Barcelona. I don't think they've got the money to do so. I really don't. It's not the time for them because, you know, big debts and how they normally get bailed out isn't the typical we have more money. It's government getting involved, but government aren't going to get involved right now. So I think Chelsea are the best option, or as well right now, as in the club who will pay the money and who also want him personally.
Yeah, I think you'll work a deal out as well. You've got a number of assets that I think a club like Dortmund would be interested in having. Tammy Abraham as an option. I think. Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham should go Spurs for 50 mil.
Tell me, Abraham, I'm sorry. Tell me, Abraham ain't getting to no Dortmund. He ain't going to no Dortmund.
Trust me, he's not as bad as we make him out to be. He'll do well there, bro. He'll do well. He'll do well.
Yo, listen, we're a high line, bro, and I guarantee you their centre backs will catch up with him, bro. And it's high line football over there.
He'll do well over there. I'm pretty sure of it. We're gonna go to some more callers here. First up, we're gonna have Raphael on the show. Raphael, what you saying, mate? Okay, Raphael is not there. Oh, just press kick just as he started talking. Sorry, Raphael. Be ready for me to say your name. Next we're gonna go to Mount Haters in the Bin. It's Edward. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, hi. So realistically, I only see Haaland as his realistic option this summer as being Chelsea. Because, like David alluded to earlier, like Real Madrid will probably go for Mbappe. Barcelona don't really have the funds. Bayern don't have Bayern have got Lewandowski. And City, not really the sort of team to spend 100 million on a player. And also he's the sort of player that Roman really wants. Like, he's a generational talent. He'll go all guns blazing for him this summer.
So you think Roman will spend the 150 on him and will spend the 300,000-500,000 pound a week on the salary of the player?
Yeah, because I think, like, if you're looking at it, it's really our only realistic chance of getting Haaland this summer, because the price next summer literally halves, and a lot more clubs are around the poker table for Haaland next summer. So I hear you on that. I think it's sound logic. It's one of the reasons I think a team like Chelsea will go for it this year, because he is more affordable next year, unless they're trying to whack the price up next year and get even more salary and the overall cost is the same. And if that's the case, then if you're willing to spend it next year, why would you not just spend it this year? It makes no odds. It doesn't make any odds to a billionaire. Do you know what I mean? Spending 150 mil this year or spending 150 mil next year is pretty much the same thing. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. We're going to go through some more of these callers before the end of the show. Keep smashing that like button and subscribing. Next up, this guy's called Beef Bully. I've got my finger over the dump button on this one, but Beef Bully, what you saying?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, mate.
It's the first time I've ever been on this, Terry. Good. Let me go outside into there. Good. Someone's doing work next door. This Haaland deal, I don't think it'll go ahead. It'll go ahead about next year. I really do.
Why? Why won't it go ahead this year, in your opinion, mate?
I'm a Man United fan. We've never spent triple figures, and also thing like the skin, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're a bit. Chelsea can buy him. City, I think, won't spend 150 because that's their half of their kitty. But I'm not ruling them out. Guardiola is a bit O'Reilly, and his agent Raiola hates Pep, and plus finally his dad plays with them, and he won't come to us because his dad is ex-City and Leeds. That's the only things that are left open. And I think if we do buy him, two people are going the opposite direction, like Pogba and another geezer.
Listen, Beef Bully, thank you very much for calling up and having your say. Really appreciate making your debut on the show, bro. Thank you. KJ, you don't think the City thing makes any difference?
No, people are saying, oh, but his dad got hurt by Keane and he won't come. Bruv, they don't care about the history. That was during them. That was while they were playing. It's his son playing now. If Man United got the peas, Man United, he's going to go Man United. They don't care about no history between him and Roy Keane.
Woodward will offer 120 and Jesse Lingard.
But David, this is not me saying it as I think he's gonna come to United. I'm just saying people that use this argument about Inga Haaland and Roy Keane and Man United, put that argument. No one cares when you've got like 300k a week, 400k a week dangling in your face, bruv. Roy Keane break my leg. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna care. Like, it really is such a silly argument. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't see it being a massive part, especially they're not. It's fairly well stated by a lot of agents and a lot of people in the know in Germany. They're looking for the best financial deal. I think that will ride through. Super chat here from Mark Goldbridge's dog.
What?
Mark Oldbridge dog, sorry, says Haaland doesn't want to play for a PE teacher like Ollie. No one does. Well, listen, I'm not denying that. I do think Ollie keep texting him. He's being friend zoned. There's no doubt. Danny King with a super chat says, if Chelsea don't make the Champions League, do they still still get Haaland? No, they have to make the Champions League, because if he's leaving, based on David can't say yes, because based on David's logic of him leaving, because especially if there's no Champions League, he won't go Chelsea. Christopher here said, I really think it's going to be Lautaro, City, Haaland, Chelsea, Mbappe to Real Madrid. City always go for the players they've scouted for a while, like they did with Diaz and Cancelo. Next caller on the show.
Raf is back. Raf is back.
Raphael's back with us. What are you saying, bro?
Hello, guys.
Hello, mate. Who do you support and what do you want to say?
Oh, I support Real Madrid. I came yesterday night. I guess you remember me, KJ and David.
Yeah, my brother. Come on, fam. Oh, he came on smoke last night. I loved it.
Yeah, but I was going to say, United, you want to buy Jadon Sancho. But I think Jesse Lingard is actually better than Daniel James. It's way better than him.
I thought you were going to say something else there. I nearly shit myself. Glad you said.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So are you saying that United shouldn't buy Sancho because you can bring Lingard back, who's better than Dan James?
I think you should buy him. He's a really good player. I mean, he's definitely. I mean, he's going to give competition to other players, and I think you should get him.
My view is I want now. I sound like Veronica. Was her name Veronica or Veruca from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Mm-hmm. Either way, I'm going to sound like her now. What I want is Sancho and Neto and both Dan James and Lingard to leave. I want depth.
That would be beautiful.
That would be beautiful, but I think I've got more chance of a date with Kim Kardashian. I heard she's getting divorced now. If you're after a geezer with a receding hairline who sits in his spare room making YouTube videos, hit me up. Raphael, top man, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Next up, we've got man like Abs, Chelsea fan. What you saying, bro?
Okay, so Manchester come out to call the salt from the Gooners. Them man there are worried that if we cop Haaland, we're going to be onto them. 5-0 and chill. That's all it's going to be next season if we played them and we've got Erling Braut Haaland. But I wanted to touch on United and Sancho because, you know what, Man United fans have been very, very downbeat about this. Man's come up and I've just realized that, this actually might end up being, something good in the long term because I think United are going to end up getting Sancho. It's more about when. Because the thing is about Man United is, despite how badly the Glazers have run your club, you generally do end up always getting something big. So let's say Di Maria, for example. Di Maria, you'd scout him for years. Eventually you went and got him when Van Gaal was the manager. So that's why I'm thinking Sancho or someone of a similar quality, even though there's very few players on that quality, like on that level, rather, eventually is going to come. So you just need to relax a little bit still.
Yeah, Abs, the word you're looking for is traumatized, because that's what it is. That's that whole saga last year was traumatizing. Like, everyone, including myself, has PTSD when it comes to Jadon Sancho. That's why we're not really too confident. And plus, we are run by the Wallad and the Pagan. So that also knocks your confidence by at least 45 to 60% every single time. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Again, it's just about trusting our board. As a Chelsea fan, you can trust your board to go and do a madness. United fans can't. So, yeah, I would love to have your optimism as from a rival point of view that we're going to get in, but I can't, bro. I really can't.
I hear you on that. We have an interesting super chat here that says, Terry, why are you and Ollie sexual and why is your hairline a number pattern? I know it goes up and down a bit. It's all good, man. I'm confident with this hairline, bro. I'm so confident with this. Come show your face on air. Let's have a little chit chat, brother, and let's see what you're saying. I don't think you will. Abs, top man. Thanks for phoning up and having your say. Look after yourself, bro. And on the Ollie sexual comment, I'm not. I want him. I want a better manager at Manchester United. I'll give you an example of where if you think this is being Ollie sexual, then I am one. If you want to say it. Did you see the video footage of him jokingly, with a deep rooted piece of satire, when they were filming the players train yesterday, he said, right, make sure you get a picture of basically all the goalies together smiling because they think they were Ollie Outers were like, see, PRFC, there are problems in training. It's like, did you not listen to the tone of his voice? He was being sarcastic. And that for me, that Ollie derangement syndrome is kicked in now, where everything he does is, and I saw it and thought, oh, come on. I thought it was gonna be really bad. And I was like, Terry, you gotta watch this. Ollie's setting things up. He's like, and I thought, oh, what's he done? And I watched it and I just thought, nah, no one can be angry. And then I saw the tweets from people, how angry they all were. And that's where the first word that come into my head, fake outrage. That was it really. Fake outrage. You're not angry about that. No grown man or woman is annoyed about that. You can't be. It's fake. You're doing it for likes, 100%. You know, you're twerking there, 110%. Let's do some more calls for the end of the show. Next person up is going to be King Neptune. King Neptune, what you saying?
Hi. Am I audible?
Hi. Yeah, but yes, you're audible. No, here, but yes, you are. What you saying, bro?
I just wanted to say that when it comes to the whole situation in terms of Haaland, I feel like Chelsea actually have a really, really good chance because thinking about it, we're actually good for it in terms of the money that we can put up front. Right now, we look like we could be making the top 4 of the Premier League, and then we have 1 foot in the semi-finals of the Champions League. That's money. The top 4, that's money. Some players are going out. That's money as well. So when you put all that together, we do actually have funds for it. And on top of that, Abramovich could still add on some, and like we could get it done. So I don't understand why rival fans are looking at it and saying that we can't really land a player like him. Because when you look at Chelsea, it's a good project. They have a good coach.
But it's about fear, bro. It's about fear. It's a lot of people's opinions often are shrouded in fear or doubt.
Yeah.
You know, all the Arsenal fans last summer that predicted they'd be in the top 4, they didn't really believe it, if that made sense. They knew in their heart of hearts. They probably didn't think 10th, but there's no way they thought of getting back into the top 4. Most people all summer last year said, you've got to remember, United didn't land Sancho. But people made it sound like Sancho didn't. They twisted it. Nah, he ain't going to play for you. I see. I told you right. He didn't sign for you. Yeah, that wasn't Sancho's doing. It was our terrible negotiators not being able to work the deal out. It wasn't a case of the player not wanting to join for whatever reason it may. Whether you think it's money or a passion to join, it is what it is. You'd always get this bitterness out there. The reason Liverpool ain't signing these top players is because they're not prepared to spend the money. It isn't because Liverpool can't attract top players. So it's not about that. Chelsea can attract the very best players in the world. It's being willing and able to spend the money to bring them in. And with FFP being relaxed, 110% Chelsea can get this deal done. No doubt about it at all. King Neptune, thank you for coming on and having your say. Everyone that's tuned in today, a massive thank you to all of you. I'm going to go and get some food now. Gargantuan, gigantic, mammoth European night of football tonight. The might of Arsenal up against Stag do FC in Slavia Prague, and Manchester United up against Granada TV, Bet Lynch, and then man there, Jack Duckworth FC, bruv, going on tonight. I'm looking forward to these massive European games. We're live straight after. Make sure you're tuning in. Terry, you just wait until Arteta gets sacked. We will challenge City for the league. Sorry, you won't be. Not for a long, long time yet. Haaland equals Ian Dowie 2.0. Ian Dowie, bro. That guy. I love that dude. Great. Great guy. Even that, Slavia Prague. A lot of stag dudes. I've been Prague. Great city. Listen, until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. Thanks you to KJ, David, and all of our callers tonight.